Bracy Skills Clinic's back with another video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Excuse any background noises that you guys may hear. I don't think it's too bad, but just in case, just please excuse any background noises that you hear. And we're going to get straight into this topic. So earlier this week, you know how everybody has of course, their group chats, with friends or families. I have my group chat with a couple close friends and family. We have our little sports debates, current events that we talk about. And so one of the topics that came across was the debate about which formula or system is better for the top tier high school prospect. We're talking basketball, of course, obviously. For the top tier athlete, meaning that they're on track to being a McDonald's All-American, and even of the McDonald's All-Americans, we're talking about like the top tier guys, the guys that are projected to be top 5 picks, even while being in high school. The guys you can see, for example, like the Cooper kid, that everybody's talking about. That's now a junior, one of the best players in the country. Definitely, he might be the best high school player. Might be the best high school player in the country. Somebody of that magnitude, right? Is it better for a kid like that to go and do the one and done process in college, or is it better for that kid to go overseas? Now, obviously, we have different, avenues such as the overtime league, and then you got the G League Ignite, like what Scoot Henderson did and Jalen Green did. But we're just going to talk about just the two entities between the NCAA and then, just playing overseas. Which do you feel is better? And, of course, it was a real healthy debate going on in the group chat that I'm involved in. You had some people that felt that college is better because of the platform college gives you, and playing in March Madness. And then they also think that the IQ part of the game, right? Like playing college ball can give you a certain sense of IQ because it's more systematic. It's not a lot of bad basketball in college basketball, if that makes sense, versus, some, I'm not even going to say any pros. I'm not even going to say overseas because it's good basketball overseas as well. But, a lot of kids come from high schools and they're coming from environments, even, with AAU, sometimes even prep, where the level of teaching is not the same, and the high school kid can kind of do whatever they want, not really understanding the game in its entirety. Certain things like shot selection and being held accountable, right? So the argument was that's the reason why they think college basketball is better. Me personally, I'm on the overseas side, to be quite honest with you. And the reason why I think a player of that magnitude, right? We're talking about only the top tier players. We're not talking about guys who are like Steph Curry or Kawhi Leonard or Dame, who were kind of overlooked during high school. They wasn't All-Americans. They wasn't ranked in the top 100 or at least on this lower side of the top 100, right? We're not talking about those kids. Those kids obviously are going to need college. And, those players turned out to be 100% fine in the NBA. We're talking about strictly the guys who are going to be one and done. Are going to be one and done and go straight pro. I personally believe that those guys would benefit better going overseas. And the reason why I say that is because if I'm already projected to be a lottery pick, right? I don't necessarily need the platform of the NCAA. Respectfully, I don't need the platform of NCAA. I know March Madness is everything during that time. And I've even heard Jalen Green mention on Paul George's podcast. I remember that question got brought up. Jalen Green even admitted that was the biggest thing that he, missed and felt that he missed out on by not going to college, was missing out on the whole March Madness experience, obviously. But outside of that, I think going overseas is much better for the development because, number one, you're playing against older players. You're playing against older players that are still trying to get to where you're trying to go, right? So, yeah, you may run across a couple guys that were in the NBA that got cut, or could have made a roster spot in the NBA, but they probably wasn't going to see a lot of playing time and or the same amount of money. So you're going to run up against guys like that, and then you're going to also run up against former Division I players that didn't get a fair shake or wasn't good enough to quite stick on an NBA roster, and then they just went overseas. You'll see guys like that, and then you're going to see the players, of course, that are actually from overseas that can play. And I think the style, the teaching of the game, not saying the college game don't teach, but you guys have to realize that in college, for a majority of these Division I schools and these coaches that are at the D1 schools, they're trying to win, and it's cutthroat with administration at the Division I level. So these coaches they want to see you develop, but realistically, majority of these college coaches don't really have time to develop. It's the reason why they're going crazy in the transfer portal. Before they had to take kids from high school and really put the time into developing them, even if they wasn't ready. Now they can really be picky and say, if you're not ready to help my team right away, we don't have to offer you a scholarship. I can go get this other kid that has already played Division I and put him on our roster and help us win. And so when you have that going on, I just don't think the level of development is on the same level as overseas players. The level of competition that you're going to see overseas with pros, I think in that 1 year, because it's only 1 year, right? We're talking about guys that are 1 year away from being pro. What better way do you want to spend that year? Do you want to spend that year playing against the best 18 to 23-year-olds, or do you want to spend that year playing against the next best level of pros? Now, of course, you got the G League or whatever, but if you're a top tier high school kid, you're going to probably end up in the top league overseas. So if it was me, I would pick the overseas route. Now, some people may disagree. Some people may think that the college game is a better way to mature, depending on where you go. And some people want to see if you can perform when everybody's watching. Like, we understand that the stage is definitely bigger at the Division I level. So, some people may argue and say that, you might have a better chance of playing against better competition overseas, but we want to know, can you perform with the lights on? Can you perform when everybody's watching, when everybody's in the country's watching? The pressure build up, the media build up. We want to see, can you perform like that? Obviously, overseas, out here, they're not. You got to go watch YouTube to watch these games overseas, right? So I do see that argument, but I just think that the overseas game is evolving. You're seeing much more better players, much more better prospects. Obviously, look at Victor Wembanyama and guys that are now coming over that are just freakishly talented. So I think the overseas game is definitely developing. But and of course, we got the financial part. I know they got these NILs, and players are definitely getting to the bag with the NILs. But depending on where you go, depending on what league you go to, you can see the same amount of money, if not more, overseas for sure. So, just giving you guys insight on some of the debates I have, within some of the groups that I'm involved in. So I want to hear you guys' thoughts. I'm on the overseas side. I think if I'm a top player in the country and I'm a year away from the NBA, obviously the NBA is not allowing guys to go straight from high school like they used to with the LeBrons and the Kobe's and Tracy McGrady's, right? We all know things are different now. If I'm a top player, I would go overseas. I would spend that year overseas, and I would just play in front of the best competition. Let's hear what you guys would do. I want to hear it in the comments. What do you guys think? Would you choose the one and done Division I route, or would you choose to go overseas for that 1 year? Let's hear it. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. We are out.